Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm Ainsley Sparks, the Marketing Manager at BookNet Canada. So today I have the pleasure of introducing two incredibly smart and knowledgeable women. Rachel Comerford, as the Director of Content Standards at Macmillan Learning, Rachel helps to implement and maintain industry and internal standards in content, platforms, and processes. Her work includes establishing internal accessibility, metadata, and EPUB implementation guides that align with best practices. She co-chairs the W3C Publishing Community Group and participates in working groups at the IMS Global, VISG, and AMAC. Rachel's co-presenter today is my BookNet colleague, Monique Mangian. Monique has always been fascinated with the intersection of books and technology, from her start making fan sites for her favorite books to her current role as project manager at BookNet Canada. Monique also teaches ebook production at Ryerson University's Chang School. Prior to joining BookNet, Monique worked in ebook production for Penguin Random House Canada. So now, without further ado, I will pass things off to Rachel and Monique.
Hello, everyone. So
hello there.
Just getting ready to kick things off. We mentioned in sort of some of the descriptions of, let me just share the correct window here, in the there we go. This is looking a little better. We mentioned in the description of the session that we were looking to have a really interactive session today where it's not only us presenting our favorite tips and tricks, but also we really want to hear from all of you about what you've been using to help make your ebook production life easier and more efficient.
Hey everyone, this is Rachel Comerford from Macmillan Learning. I'm here with, well, not with Mo. I'm here far, far away from Mo. And I'm with a fiercely angry cat who I'm sure you'll be hearing from throughout the presentation. But I'm really excited to hear from you guys.
We want to know, has your workflow changed in the last few weeks as a result of the changes to a lot of people's work lives through this COVID-19 situation that we're all facing? Seeing a lot of yeses. In the chat, for those of you who said yes, what has changed the most?
I've noticed a much more seamless flow from coffee to wine because there's no subway in between the two beverages. That is my workflow change right there.
Yeah, so Anna mentioned timelines have changed a lot. Do you find have they spread out longer, or are you working faster, Anna, to get things done? Faster. Less time. Just what everybody wants. Things are getting delayed and bumped to season. Yeah, we've been hearing a lot about that. More meetings, Donna. Yes, agreed. Digital now getting priority over print. That's a really good, interesting one too.
An in-house demand for backlist and bundles, and a lot more ebook work.
More work to do than ever, but less time and pay for it. Yeah, editorial slows down. Production isn't allowed to take more time.
That's a familiar complaint.
So I feel like that's the life of every productioneer.
Digital copies for early review. For early review in-house, you mean? Or for customers? For journals.
Review journals.
Mm-hmm.
More ebooks for small press clients. That's great.
Oh.
All right. So we have one more question about people's workflow. We love hearing about how everyone's adapting. Oh, moving to digital arcs completely. That would be more work as well. So we've heard a little bit about this with the previous question, but has your organization's publishing strategy changed over the last few weeks? Seeing a similar breakout of yeses to nos, the yeses pulling out a little bit more ahead. For those of you who are saying yes, wow, lots of yeses here.
Great question.
What's a publishing strategy? Oh, Dave.
For those of you who do know what a publishing strategy is, or who are familiar, how is your publishing strategy changing?
More attention on your digital products and ebooks. We're seeing that a lot at BookNet too, a lot more questions about digital products. Digital first, right. So you're publishing your digital products before and pushing the print pub dates off to meet those suppliers' schedules. Any other publishing strategy changes? Regional titles, less of a priority since tourism is pretty non-existent. That's really interesting, Alexandra.
Oh, wow.
More direct-to-consumer sales efforts. Yeah, trying to reach people where they are. Lots of really interesting answers. Less spending in budgets. Donna, yes, definitely. I think across the board, people are seeing that, not just in publishing, but across lots of industries. More social media posting and promotions. Oh, a children's school and library publisher working on distance learning solutions. I'm sure our teacher friends are really, really grateful and hungry for lots of distance learning solutions, and parents as well. Releasing EPUBs before print for marketing purposes. Lots of really interesting things happening. Is anyone whose organization's publishing strategy has not changed, is there anything that you would like to see change about your organization's publishing strategy? You're allowed to be shy. That's okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for jumping on this poll. I think Dave has summed it up nicely. We should take ebooks seriously. And I think most of us, or hopefully all of us on this webinar, do take ebook production quite seriously, which is, I think, why we're all here, to share some of our tips and tricks, commiserate a little bit, and have a really fun time. Rachel, do you have anything you want to?
No. I think that this is a great segue to talk about some of the tools and the resources that we've been using in order to make some of these ebooks in this sort of change.
All right. I was going to say let's play a game in a really creepy voice, but I don't want to seem like the Saw puppet man. So we're going to play a game. So to kind of guide part of our conversation and make our discussion of tools and tips and tricks a little more fun, we wanted to arrange it like a Jeopardy game. So if a brave volunteer wants to choose a category and a point value, we can kickstart our conversation with the prompt of that value. EPUB parts for 100. All right, Wendy, coming out fast. All right, Laura will do tools for 100 after. So EPUB parts for 100. The answer is, without this, you won't know where you're going. What is an EPUB part that would, OPF, nav, spine. Oh, lots of good suggestions. TOC. Rachel, do you want to Alex Trebek this one?
So the answer we were looking for was the nav, or what is the nav? I'm sorry.
In the form of a question, Rachel.
In the form of a question, which I thought I edited this to make it in the form of a question, but.
But I think there were lots of good answers here. The spine also helps the book itself know in which order it's going. The OPF, very important. Lots of great EPUB parts here.
The TOC also.
TOC, yes.
Definitely tells you where you're going.
All right, so Laura had requested tools for 100. Accessibility checker for EPUB. Oh, Wendy, for the buzzer. Nicole, lots of correct answers here. Everyone is correct. ACE is the EPUB checker for accessibility. Great work. If you haven't used ACE before, we highly recommend you check it out. At the end of the session, we will be sending out a document with links to all these tools so you can dive in and give them a try if you haven't already. All right.
If there are any of these unique answers that are popping up, I'm documenting all of them in a separate document so that we can share that with all of you guys.
All right. Who wants to pick the next category and point value?
Accessibility for 100.
All right. This is required on every image in your EPUB.
Alexandra, coming in hot.
I love that everyone has answered alt text, and I love those of you who have answered in the form of a question, the real Jeopardy fans. Alt text is correct. Excellent work.
Great.
All right, next category.
Cross-platform for 100.
All right. This EPUB part has been replaced in EPUB 3, but is still useful for legacy devices.
Tableau with the win. Is the NCX. We're sorry, Laura. We had to ask. No, I'm not sorry. You're right.
Amazing work. Dave, what is the godforsaken NCX that we can't kill no matter how hard we try?
This is the
truth. What? Those of us who are still rolling on an OG 10-year-old e-reading device appreciate that the NCX is still around. All
right, so y'all went for the easy. I get it. But, you know, who's going to go for something a little tougher?
EPUB for 300. Okay. We are looking for 3 of the schema.org metadata elements for EPUB.
Who can do it?
Oh,
Marisa! Yes!
Access mode, accessibility hazard, and access mode sufficient.
There's more, obviously, accessibility summary, accessibility feature. It's hazard. Control, yep.
As we can see, we only asked for 3, but there are many more.
Yes. Accessibility API is one of them. Do we have? Yep. I see accessibility feature. That's a good one. Access mode. Oh, accessibility report. Forgot about that. Ally summary.
I always forget them all, Wendy says, and I agree. I also forget them all. The good news is that this is never a memorization test. You are always welcome to use your tools and resources at all times.
Dave, I'm sorry, that is not one of the EPUB parts.
So the next category request, I wrote down some of the earlier ones. Laura had requested accessibility for 500. Going ham. We're looking for this resource provides examples of accessible math in an EPUB and is tested by industry experts.
The DAISY knowledge base is a good answer.
EPUBtest.org.
Also a good answer. What is George's math test book is what I was looking for.
It's the DAISY math test book. I wish I had a soundboard with like applause and drum roll sounds for this.
I know.
If you haven't used the DAISY math test book on EPUBtest.org, it is amazing. Highly recommend, especially if you're working on educational materials, anything with math.
The DAISY knowledge base is also an excellent resource, which has a lot of great code samples. Many of which I think were written by Matt Garish, also of DAISY, and that is an awesome resource that we will provide the link to in the follow-up document.
So the next request was tools for 400. And we are looking for a tool that lets you know your colors meet WCAG standards. WebAIM color contrast checker. Alexander uses ACE. ACE for EPUB.
Mm-hmm. All these are great.
Rachel, are you going to Alex Trebek me on this one?
Oh, I can if you'd like me to. I don't know if you
color contrast.
Ooh. I will have to look that one up. Paciello Group also has a color contrast analyzer. We had the WebAIM color contrast analyzer. There's Axe is one that I actually didn't think of. Yes, you can definitely use the ACE tool. That will check color contrast. Mo, I think you have some special math formulas that you like to use.
Yeah, there's a way you can calculate your contrast using math. I will share it in the document after. It didn't fit in the Jeopardy tile. All right. So the next category that was requested was EPUB parts for 400. We are looking for this 3-letter file extension is used only once in an EPUB file. Got OPF.
And we're looking for 3 letters. OPF. There is another. Thank you, Katie.
The godforsaken NCX returns.
Dave, are you questioning the accuracy of our quiz? Tell us more.
The OPF and the godforsaken NCX. Dave has said that in multiple renditions, you can have any number of OPF files.
Except for multiple renditions.
Shamed. Godforsaken multiple renditions.
All right.
All right. Who wants to shout out another category and point value?
Tools for 200.
All right, we are looking for the name of a tool that needs $15,000 in funding.
That is indeed EPUB Check. So if you have not yet donated to EPUB Check, this is the link to do so. inclusivepublishing.org/EPUB Check donate. They are still looking for donations in order to keep EPUB Check up to date with the latest version of the specification. And yes, they are accepting donations from both companies as well as individuals. So there is an individual that donated $20 twice, which is quite generous of them.
A heavy user of EPUB Check, I imagine.
Yeah. So keep that in mind, and I think we can move on to our next one. Oh, we have cross-platform for 300. You've been beaten to it by Kevin Callahan.
All right, we're looking for the most important things to consider when developing a book for mobile readers. So if you are developing an EPUB to be read on mobile devices, what are some of the most important things you consider? Scalability in CSS, CSS in Ms, not pixels. Yep.
Nice.
Responsiveness, accessibility, text layout, image sizing, text and images. Yep. Marisa with reflowable, very important. File size, also important. Dave, what is don't set font size 200 pixels? Correct.
I'll be sure to include that note.
I've also always found, God forbid you want to include drop caps in your EPUB, but if you do, they are especially terrible on mobile. So if you must include them, important to test. Image sizing in Ms as well. Rachel, do you have any favorite things you remind yourself of when you're developing a book for mobile readers?
I like to avoid the massive spreads when it comes to charts and graphs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite tip for a title that would have a really wide chart or graph, but you're trying to make it easy to read for a small device?
I'm a big fan of breaking up information. So sometimes you have to reconsider how you're presenting the data if you're presenting it or your goal is to present it on a smaller device.
Tables. Everyone's crying over big tables.
Big tables are people. That is very true.
when am I not crying over big tables?
Yeah, I think any size screen that you're working with, you're still crying.
Tables are just a struggle on a lot of readers. Even with larger screens, it can be a real challenge. All right, next category. Oh, nested lists. Those are also a challenge. That's a good one. All right, we're looking for our next category. All right.
200.
Really liking the EPUB parts. We're looking for the part that outlines all of the EPUB file's contents. Got OPF, package, manifest.
Manifest is what we were looking for, yeah.
Oh, Anna had OPF and then the little arrow to manifest. I'm enjoying the file path situation here.
Yeah.
You guys are getting speedy with these.
Ken is keeping it real with the answer of the question.
True Jeopardy fan.
Yes.
All right, next category.
Apparently nobody likes cross-platform functionality. I think once we introduced the NCX, everybody was like, never again.
Florence says cross-function functionality is a myth. All right, Christine has asked for accessibility 200. So we are going to have a roundtable now. Please tell us about the worst accessibility mistake you've seen. I'll start with mine. I saw a book where there were special accents captured. They were for Thai lettering. And instead of embedding a font that included Thai lettering, they just captured each of the letters with an accent as a tiny image and just put it in line with the rest of the text.
No.
It looks really good when you resize it.
Viewer 43 gave us fixed type size. Katie said yellow text on a white background. I need to hear how that happened. Laura told us P-class equals H1. That must have been fun to navigate. InDesign CSS div soup. Sounds delicious, Katie. I just got a novel
this week where the chapter headers were images.
Yes. Setting fixed type size with important for the biggest ebook of the year for a big 5 publisher. It wasn't me. Sure, it wasn't you, Dave. Sure, it wasn't you.
Lots of agreement that InDesign soup is the worst. We've got headers as images.
A page consisting of only a screenshot of a page. Yeah, that was basically my experience, Marisa. That's a lot of backlist that I've seen. Alt a photo.
Yeah, Pablo had that great one where the alt text of a picture just said a photo.
I've seen a lot of alt equals alternative text here.
Alt text was the same for a different image. Annika, yikes. Alt equals cover.
Well, it was cover, wasn't it, Wendy?
Lots of alt equals filename.jpg. Alt equals PK. It seems like there's been a lot of alt text tragedies.
Trauma, yeah. A lot of this being shaken in InDesign right now.
I think that's fair. All right. Next category. EPUB parts for 500. We're going to clear the category now. This file is the icing of the EPUB cake.
There you go, Dave.
Dave, what is CSS? You know, the part of the cake, this is maybe controversial to say. The inside of the cake is the bits and bobs, the HTML files, all the structure of the EPUB. The icing is what makes it pretty.
Anna, yes, I would say that I like the icing in this scenario. Are you not an icing fan? I don't actually know if I'm asking if you're not an icing fan or not a CSS fan at that point. But yes, we do like the icing.
We do like the icing. Our readers like the icing.
Often I find that my content team does not like the icing.
All right, we're looking for our next category. I think there was one, cross-platform functionality for 300.
Yes.
Brave soul. We were looking for the most, we did this one. All right, I'm going to do cross-platform for 400 then. This device requires a unique file format that doesn't allow for cross-platform functionality. Lots of correct answers here. Kindle with their proprietary file type.
I appreciate rhymes with Kindle. Which would be what exactly?
All right.
It's a creative answer.
Next category, tools for 300. All right, this is a question of great contention. What is your favorite EPUB editing tool? Got a few shouts out for Sigil, Oxygen, VS Code, BB Edit, Circular Flow, VS Code.
Sigil is my baby. I appreciate the dedication there.
David's asked, what doesn't suck?
Are you asking for advice, or is that just like, you'll take anything?
Ruth's using Visual Code. I enjoy BB Edit also. Few shouts out of Circular Flow there. Yes, this is an open one. We weren't looking for any special answer in particular, but we thought it would be useful to kind of take the temperature of the ebook production world, get a sense of what text editors and other EPUB editors people are using, so that we could share that back. I know people get kind of stuck in the one or two that they like to use, and it can be really great to mix things up a little. Rachel, do you have a favorite?
My favorite, I'd say, is probably Oxygen, which is funny because I actually forgot to add it to our pre-set list. I also saw like a really cool blog post in EPUB Secrets that was written by an attendee on this webinar. I think he's here, Matt, about a couple of neat tools called Drop to Script and EPUBography. I'm definitely pronouncing that incorrectly. We'll link out to that EPUB Secrets article, but Drop to Script looks really cool.
Laura beat us to it.
Added it into the chat.
All right, so we have a few categories left. Viewer 42, I unpack unpack zip with EPUB Pack for PC, edit XHTML and CSS in Dreamweaver, and because they believe Sigil adds unnecessary NCX files. That's a great little summary of your workflow there. I also use a lot of EPUB zip unzip is a script I use a lot, and eCan Crusher. Those are some that I use all the time. All right, next category. Cross-platform for 500. Asher is going for hard mode here. This resource serves as a thorough test of Unicode character compatibility for your devices and fonts in EPUB format.
I will be honest, I did not know the answer to this one. Mo did.
Dave has suggested, what is the Holy Grail? So there's actually a really great Unicode test book. We'll send out a link to it in the sort of wrap-up document for this session. It has all of the Unicode characters, including all of the emojis, and you can test it. Our colleague Simon Collinson has produced that and made it available, so I will share that around. It's super great if you're using any special characters. Hunt and Peck Unicode Google.
I like it.
That's also a good one.
It's a solid solution.
Yeah, so this test book is amazing. Highly recommend. Graphemica, John has suggested. That's good too.
I'm not familiar with Graphemica.
Anika, yes, you'll remember Simon's book from our class at Ryerson. All right. Next category. We only have 4 left. You're all making quick work of this tough Jeopardy.
Accessibility for 300.
All right. You should carefully consider these aspects of design to ensure your content is accessible to readers with learning disabilities. You shout out for fonts. Marisa has suggested everything, and I think that's also a reasonable answer.
Yeah.
Fonts and text spacing are really important. Image descriptions written at the reading level, also good color usage. Good suggestion too, Brittany.
I like image description at the reading level. That's a really nice one to keep in mind.
Line spacing, also really good. Especially going back to the image descriptions at the reading level, if your image descriptions are being produced by someone who isn't the original editor of the book, it's probably important to make sure there's some continuity in terms of the reading level. All right.
Also helpful, Dave.
The next suggestion here is tools for 500. So this is another open-ended prompt. We're looking for a cool trick I don't think anyone has seen before. I already brought mine to the table. It was the Unicode book. Does anyone else have a neat trick that they use that they think others may not have tried before? Rachel, do you have anything secret you're willing to share?
I can pop my thumbs out of their sockets. I
meant an EPUB production trick, not like a secret party trick.
Well, that takes all of the fun out of it. Word to EPUB, that's a great one.
Word to EPUB, we've got a link there to Calibro. BB Edit text factories for cleaning up InDesign mess. Ooh,
I have
never heard of that before.
That's really cool.
David Gray, thank you.
Calibrio's accessibility work, that's definitely some interesting stuff that they've been doing. Jiminy's Blitz CSS. A vertical centering hack. That is very cool. Fixing strange and complicated markup problems with XSLT. It's funny because XSLT hacks was on our list, and I was like, I don't actually know any, but I think it's neat.
There's also, I know we talked about the godforsaken NCX already and how little people enjoy it, but there's actually a really great XSLT solution online that you can use to renumber the play order in your NCX if you happen to add or change the order. To do it automatically, it's super cool.
I feel like you all have cooler tricks than I do.
Well, you can pop your thumbs out of socket, so I guess that's fine. Oh, we've got a recommendation here too for sigil plugins to automatically link footnotes with backlinks. That sounds pretty handy.
Nice.
Laura's linked the Friends of EPUB GitHub.
Excellent.
EPUB tricks.
An excellent reference. Command line XPath for your scripts.
Love that. diffchecker.com.
Ooh. The Daisy Knowledge Base. One of my favorite resources.
Yeah, lots of incredible solutions and options here. I have a husband who is a whiz at writing greph searches. Sounds handy.
Are you volunteering him, Sarah? Can I add his email address to the reference doc? He's about to hear from a lot of people.
Yeah. Anyone else? Last call for cool tricks you don't think anyone has seen before.
Or volunteering your spouses for extra work.
Katie's recommended that easier than diff checker is the compare files feature in BB Edit. Yep, compare files in BB Edit is awesome. All right.
These are great.
Awesome tricks. Let me just make sure I actually. All right. So we have 2 categories left. We have cross-platform functionality and accessibility. Rachel, I think this one's going to be all you, my friend. Oh,
Laura B.
Accessibility. All right. These are the elements of a properly marked up complex table in EPUB.
Nobody wants to answer this question.
Caption, table headers, summary.
Table headers does not exist. something else. Okay.
Yeah, table summaries I think are often overlooked but super important.
Yes.
Lots of suggestions here. Title, table headers, ARIA labels, figure tags. Tables can be a huge challenge. Does anyone have any favorite resources for tables in particular?
Avoiding
tables is best practice.
That is the best practice for Kindle, yes.
The W3C also has a great page on tables. Sarah recommends a big box of tissues.
There's a lot of trauma in this group.
Tables are hard.
A tutorial. That's awesome.
Awesome. So Marissa's provided a link to the W3 resources on tables. We will include that as well. So we're off to our last category, cross-platform functionality for 200. These contingencies are relied upon when a reader's device can't display the content as desired.
You nailed it, Dave.
What are fallbacks? Very important. Marissa said showing a page with a sad face.
Also a relevant response.
A charming answer.
Definitely valid.
Man, this is a smarty pants group. We've cleared the board of categories. Is there any other last tips and tricks, Rachel, or our friends and colleagues in the chat that you are dying to share?
I mean, for me, the most important thing I think that I've learned now that I have started doing, or since I started doing EPUB work, is that the best resources that I have are the people that I work with. So mostly, I feel as though the knowledge that I have is based in that like group of people that I know. So it's not my knowledge, but it's my knowledge and your knowledge and Laura's knowledge and Dave's knowledge and Marissa's knowledge and everyone that I have a chance to work with. And so one of the things that I love about this is that we have this hashtag eProduction community, and that we have that chance to work together, even though we don't really get to see each other, less and less so now than ever. So that is my tip or trick, is to take advantage of that eProduction space on Twitter.
Yeah, we've seen a few shout outs here to the Twitter hive mind and the hashtag. We've also got HTML markup that can do CSS heavy lifting. That's really great. Dave suggested using browser dev tools on HTML files. That's really important too. eProduction group on Facebook if you're not a Twitter person.
What's Facebook, Laura?
Yeah, so just remember, part of why we wanted to keep this session today a little more fun and interactive is because more so now than I think ever, while lots of people working on ebooks are maybe one of a very small team at their organization or maybe the only person working on ebooks. So it can be hard to have a kind of collegial atmosphere where you can brainstorm and work together. So we wanted to kind of recreate a little bit of that today. And hopefully we can keep this momentum going in all the other places on the internet. I know if you have any questions about anything we've talked about today, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. This is Monique, of course, and I can do my best to help point you towards some resources that'll help.
Definitely don't reach out to me. I will just send you a video of me popping my thumb out of its socket. Unless that's what you're looking for. No, please reach out to me.
Yeah, we're here to help. This is a really collegial community of people who are really generous with their time and expertise, and everyone's really great at helping each other learn. I know a lot of what I learned was through pestering on the internet. So don't be afraid. Everyone's super nice.
So I just wanted to say thank you very much, Rachel and Monique, for that great session on e-production. And thank you to everyone who joined us today.